Hi guys, it's Vaping Newbie again. I promised you a sequel and here we go. I watch a lot of YouTube videos on how and what to buy. I'm new, so I have no freaking clue on what to buy. I can tell you what I bought. So if you're new, you might learn something. If you've been doing it for a while, you can correct me. First off, when I started with the Ego Spinner, and this is a variable voltage. It's a battery that lasts, for me it lasted a few hours, and then I'd have to recharge it. The kit I bought, which I bought at a brick and mortar shop, came with 2 of these batteries, so I was able to switch them out. I said in my first video, I was unboxing my first real vape mail from dashvapes.com, and I said that the VTR was going to be my daily vape. As you can see, it's with me. The others are on my shelf, and I was just going to go over the progression of how I got there. I started, as I said, with the Ego Spinner. I didn't know which way to start. It's my daughter coughing in the background, so we're real pros at this. I didn't know which way to start. I saw a lot of people using those little cigarette-style disposables, or even some of the refillables. And the people that were using that were outside at work smoking. So I figured, okay, that's definitely not the answer. I did see somebody else walking around with an Ego Spinner, and I got some information, looked into it for a couple of weeks, and turned around and I bought one at the local shop. It did its job. It helped me quit smoking. The beautiful thing about it was that I literally went from smoking to non-smoking in 10 minutes. I got out of the car, I threw my cigarette onto the street, I know, littering, walked into the shop, bought the kit, and haven't looked back. I started with a tobacco flavored juice, but for me, after about 5 days, didn't like the tobacco, switched over and started going into fruit juices and things of that nature, but I'll get to in a second. After a while of using the Ego Spinner, I was tired of charging it, so I bought a spinner called the 1300 mAh, and that stands for milliamp hours. Google it. And what I did was I was able to extend the life of the battery by using that 1300 mAh battery. But in speaking to some of the people on the Whacked Out forum, and incredible people, are really helpful people, they sort of pushed me and towards an MVP2, which was my next purchase. And immediately I married that up with a Kanger Aero tank, and immediately found a difference. I didn't think I would. I was a bit skeptical, but I did find a difference in the vape, and the flavors really started pronouncing out to me. So I enjoyed that. But if you follow these forums, you see that these people have collections of this stuff. And not only do they buy them, a lot of them make them, which is phenomenal. I wish somebody would explain that more, and I haven't really got into that. But I won't be doing that. I'm too freaking old, and I don't have the patience to be doing that. I had the MVP for a while and decided, okay, well, the MVP is great, but I found it with the tank sticking up kind of fragile. Let me just get it here, and I'll show you what I mean. So, sorry about that. I went from this, which has the tank sticking up, and I bought the SVD for, because I like the tube style, and this is working really well. And the MVP seems to be more of my every daily vape here around the house. And it's really solid. I bought it really because I golf, and I figured I could put this in a golf bag. As you see, the tank, there was some protection there against it. The reviews I read said you can drop this on a floor. Wouldn't recommend it. And you're protected, where this kind of scared me that this might be a bit too fragile for that. However, if I was going to take one and say, okay, I'm going to go out, this was probably the best. The MVP2, the battery can last you a complete day, for me at least. Some people are getting 2 and 3 days out of it. Another part that's really great about the MVP2 is you can actually use it while you're charging it in your computer with the USB. However, I charge it with an AC adapter because I feel you get a lot more power. It charges quicker with the house current than it does with the computer. So my next step was, okay, what do I want to do next? Well, I went along, and Oaken I find makes a really, really nice product. You saw in my previous video the unboxing, and they're really well packed. They come basically, for lack of a better term, bare. The MVP, I wish it came with a battery and or charger rather than that fancy box, which though looks really cool, I could do without, because it's just going to sit on the shelf, as somebody, a friend at work once told me when she saw it. But the MVP2 itself is a major unit. I really enjoy it. It's substantial in your hand, so I can see how that's going to last quite a while. The SVD does everything that you want it to do. I find, again, it's a very solid unit. It's an expansion pack type of tube. It decreases and increases. You can use various batteries. That's one thing to keep in mind if you're starting out. The MVP in itself is a battery. So as you travel with this, you do not need to carry batteries and chargers. Where these, you need to have a couple of batteries. The batteries I bought from vapes.com, which they recommended, Shy, thank you very much, was the IMR batteries, the 2600 mAh and 18650s. I don't know what all that means. I went with Shy because I have a great trust in him, and he hit the ball right out of the park. I did some research and found out that the IMR batteries are the best on the market, so that's what I went with, and he was right. So as a starter vapor, and I've only been doing this just over a month, as you may have seen, I have quite a collection of juices, so I should take a minute to say thanks to Ian out at Maple Leaf Vapes. They have some really good products. If you're in Canada, I don't know about crossing borders, but if you're in Canada, you should look them up for their juices. They really are good. And to show you how good they are, my daughter, who's coughing and filming this video, I was using the bubble gum, and she loved the flavor. Now, the bubble gum I got from Dash Vapes. I wanted to give it a try, and it was kind of sweet, and it was a vape I could use for a few hours. I guess my favorite vape is either the green apple. I've just started using Grapple from that's Grapple or Grappler. I'm sorry, from Dash Vapes. And I think my all-time favorite is the Lemon Lime Spritz from Maple Leaf Vapes. It really is a nice kick. It seems fresh. I can use it all day. Another one I bought from Maple Leaf Vapes was Lemon Meringue Pie. When I used it here in the house, you could swear somebody was baking. So it really, and again, it was a short term. I found it kind of heavy in the throat. It was a short term vape. Wouldn't use it all day. So as you go along and you progress, let me start by saying I started with a tobacco flavor, lasted me about 5 days, switched it out right away, bought a banana flavor. It was okay, kind of chemically. And then when I started getting the Maple Leaf Dash Vapes, I'm sorry, the Maple Leaf Vapes juice, that changed everything. The flavors really came out. They make a really nice product. So I heavily recommend them. I think Shy at Maple Leaf, at Dash Vapes, I'm really messing this up. Dash Vapes has some really good products, particularly for beginners. I just put together a kit for a woman today, a friend of mine, and she placed the order with Shy, so hopefully she'll have it midweek. Their shipping is phenomenally fast. I ordered this on a Wednesday and got it on a Friday, so he's in Toronto, I'm in Montreal. I do not own part of Dash Vapes. I do not work for Dash Vapes. I have no economical tie to get Dash Vapes, but when you get that kind of service, you go with it. And I think we should be supporting our Canadian, whomever they are, our Canadian vendors. I know that there are vendors out of the country, and you may save $20 or $25, but I strongly suggest support your Canadian retailer. That's my flag waving for the moment. So if you're starting out, the Ego Twist is a good start. The variable voltage factor is important to me. I think that a solid voltage isn't as helpful. You can play around with the variable voltage. The next step would definitely be the MVP2. Another cool thing about this that I probably will never use, but it's there, is you can charge. I could charge my cell phone. I have an Apple, what do you call it, iPhone 4, and I can charge this off of this battery pack. So that was kind of like a nice side note. If you notice, I used the Kanger, well, you can't notice because you can't really see them, but I used the Kanger Aero Tanks. The iClear 30S that's on my MVP right now came in my VTR kit. But I prefer the Kanger Aero Tanks. I believe because the coils are on the bottom, I'm getting a warmer vape than I do with the iClear 30S. If I'm wrong, please post a comment and correct me. I have no issue with that. I'm brand new at this, so I'm just trying to help out a newbie. I spend a lot of time online. I think I spend all weekend online researching. I'm in forums. I'm talking to people, and poor Shy at Dash Vapes hears from me almost daily, if only to bug him about the Maple Leafs losing to the Islanders. Go Islanders! And but he's opening up a shop somewhere in Toronto. I don't understand the GTA, but somewhere in Toronto. So I'm hoping to get out to actually meet him and give him a hi. But he really helped me out there. So I don't know, Shy. I might get that 134 yet, because you can't avoid the cool factor of what the Enokin 134 is. I know I would love to have a Provari, which is, from what I've read, the Cadillac. What scares me is you buy the Provari and all of this becomes obsolete. So I'm kind of on the fence about that. And they're quite expensive, but compared to what you spend in smoking, not really. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, as much as I can help, perhaps some of my learned co-vapors, and we're vapors, we're not smokers. What emanates from our mouth is vapor, it is not smoke. And if they can chime in and answer your questions, if I cannot, hopefully you'll find it useful. So this is really a starter's kit. I should have brought one of my Kangaroo aero tanks, because I find it's a good starter aero tank. The Nautilus is, again, the biggest one to have, but sort of saving $10 or $15 there by going with the Kangaroos. And look at this. Maybe I should go for the spare. I think it's going right well. So thanks everybody for paying attention. Keep your comments polite, because I'm new at this, and if I made mistakes, I apologize. But again, you could fill in the blanks where I didn't. So you'll pardon me while I get a vape. And I say to all, happy vaping. Thank you.